encontramos una vez más en una de las series de video que estamos grabando acerca del impacto del coronavirus y en esta ocasión nos encontramos con Ruben, quien está en Berlín por ahora. Ruben forma parte de la Fundacion Friedrich Naumann y él coordina la parte de todo lo que tiene que ver con asuntos internacionales. Bueno, vamos a hacer la entrevista en inglés, pero nos pueden seguir también con los subtítulos en español. Hi, Ruben, how are you? If you want, you can introduce yourself apart from the words in Spanish that I just said. So tell us what you're doing at the Naumann Foundation, just a little bit about your work at the foundation.
So first of all, hola. So now I'm switching back to English because that's pretty much everything I can say in Spanish besides ordering beer. But I mean, that's it. Yeah, first of all, thanks for the opportunity to talk a little bit about the situation here in Germany. About myself, I'm just a foundation since 2012. I started as a desk officer and later I worked in our New Delhi office in the South Asia region. And then I worked in the Balkans. I was based in Belgrade, and for 1 year now I am back in Berlin. And I am heading a new unit, which was just introduced 1 year ago, where we are dealing with issues around human rights and civil rights, economic questions, digitalization, and security and development policy. So basically the whole portfolio that the foundation works on. And so we have dedicated point persons for this in this unit. Yeah, and we just try to support our offices abroad. And I hope we are doing this in the right way.
Of course you are. We always feel the support from Germany, even here in Latin America, which is now 8 hours away from Germany. So also thanks for taking this time to talk with us. So the first question that we have for you would be like, how was it for you to self-isolate at the beginning in Berlin? Because we heard that you were kind of the first ones to isolate. So how the city has been changing. Berlin is like a bustling city. So how was it for you?
So, I mean, first of all, I have to admit that I was really on the wrong side of history until, like, let's say until the beginning of April, until the beginning of March. I was like, yeah, come on, it's more or less like a flu. People my age, I mean, come on, how bad can it possibly get? Well, fast forward to today. Yeah, I've been on the wrong side of history, but probably like most other people in Germany. So, and that became clear to me when I had to self-isolate because I was an official contact person. So we met with a journalist here in Berlin, and a couple of days later, he sent us an email telling us, me and a colleague of mine, that he was tested positive for Covid-19. And then the usual protocol involves that, okay, you go home, you self-isolate, and you let the local authorities know that you're in self-isolation because you're a contact person. That's what I did, completely unprepared. I was like, okay, I go home now. And then I had a lot of questions like, okay, self-isolation, how does that work again? Yeah, I mean, is there any kind of blueprint here whatsoever? So I tried to call the local authorities here in Berlin, and obviously already at the beginning of March, they were already quite overwhelmed. So they basically replied to me 4 days later. So they gave me a call 4 days later, and I was already in self-isolation for 4 days. So you can see that they were simply not prepared for this. On the upside, they gave me a call on Saturday afternoon. And they were really, really polite. And they answered all my questions. And for those of you who have ever been to Berlin, I mean, the people in Berlin are nice and kind and polite. And that's not the usual behavior here, I would say. So that's on the upside. And yeah, I think meanwhile, the whole city has completely changed. The foundation itself we introduced home office 2.5 weeks ago, I think. Time flies. If I don't look at my calendar, I don't know which day it actually is.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So today's Tuesday.
Good to know. So the whole foundation is working from home. The city is not completely empty, but considerably empty, and I think people have now realized that this is a serious issue. All the pubs are closed, the bars are closed, all the clubs are closed, which is quite a big deal for a city like Berlin, where millions of people flock to every year, especially to enjoy the party scene here. And now also the spring is coming, the sun is shining, just looking outside, there's blue skies out there. A lot of things happen in the open air in Berlin. So you don't have to go necessarily to a bar to meet with friends. I mean, in Germany, it's really not unusual that you simply walk into a store, you buy a bottle of beer. We're Germans, we like to drink beer. And then you simply walk outside and you meet on the pavement, in the park, you just walk around carrying your bottle of beer, which is really completely normal in a city like Berlin. And that, of course, is no longer possible for the foreseeable future here. So yeah, it really brought the city to a standstill. And I'm most concerned with all these small shops here, especially in my neighborhood, like the small restaurants or my local nursery around the corner, where I can't go at the moment because they're all closed. I try to support the restaurant with ordering a lot of junk food and fast food, probably more than I should, but I mean, you do what you can.
Of course, and that brings me also to my next question. Like, how are you coping with isolation, like, and with this change? Like, do you have some maybe tips for people here also locked down in Mexico, which is actually here voluntarily, but we're all doing it in the more like, yeah, high upper classes, so to say. But do you have any like apps, maybe video games, books, or something besides Netflix and all these things like that we can maybe spend some time with?
I mean, I have to confess, just yesterday I finished watching Tiger King on Netflix. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, have a look at it. It's insane, but it's good entertainment, I would say. So, but besides Netflix, I'm not sure if you can really do this in a big city like Mexico. I mean, I was really desperate, so I ordered running shoes. And I mean, I hate running usually. Walking is fine, but running, not really. But desperate times, desperate measures. So I bought a new pair of running shoes. And I have the impression that a lot of people in Berlin are currently, well, running outside, which is quite unusual to see. Maybe
But
one reason is,
do they go like in the mornings, like usually, like just, yeah,
it's I mean,
it's not
because most of the
forbidden.
people, no, it's not forbidden. So here's the catch. So you are basically obliged to stay home, but there are a few exemptions, like shopping for groceries, obviously, and sporting activities outside. So you can drive around with your bicycle, for example, or you can simply go for a walk alone, if that can do it, or you go for a run. So that gives you a pretty good excuse to be outside. So that's what I started. Besides that, I would recommend, I have one favorite podcast. It's Freakonomics Radio. Some maybe know the book Freakonomics. And those of you who have read it, it's basically, well, the book turned into a podcast. There are more than 400 episodes available. They have a big archive. And they basically look at things from an economic point of view, which sounds really boring if you're not into economics. But they do it in a really, really funny way. So it's really exciting. And as I told you, it's a 400 episode archive. Each episode is around 45 minutes. So you can do the math. So it's a lot of things. And then I started coding, programming again. So there's I think, pretty good website, which is Codecademy. And then you can basically learn everything from Python to C to HTML, web development, whatsoever. They really do it in a really, really interesting way. So it comes in different lessons. So it's quite entertaining. And yeah, I just started reading a book, which is, maybe some people know it, Ready Player One. It is, I mean, isn't it from 2015 or something like that? So it's a couple of years old. And it's a little bit like The Matrix, just a little bit updated. It's pretty cool. So if you want book recommendations, I would go for Ready Player One.
Awesome. And then maybe also within your work life, do you have any recommendations about maybe some apps that have made your work life easier, or yeah, some other maybe like programs?
Not programs, but I have another book. I think that's also available in online. That is Getting Things Done from David Allen. It's a really good time to start reading this right now, because it comes with really, really handy and useful ideas. So it starts with organizing your email inbox, for example, how you can use it, how you can do it in a much better way. Because I mean, sometimes, some people don't even use folders in their inbox, so they have like a gazillion of emails in their inbox, and then it's like, oh, where's that email again? And then, well, it's gone because we'll never find it again. So this book is pretty good when it comes to those small life hacks, which you can also easily apply in the office. And another thing I did is, I don't know if you know that, I call it my yet to read pile of papers.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this or something like that. Yeah, and every 6 months you just take the lower 50%, you just throw it away because probably they're not that interesting. So I started reading those things. I'm still not finished, so it's maybe the best time to start reading them before you throw them away again.
Definitely. And what we've seen is also like a lot of people like really being very, very creative, also doing like I don't know, like painting and some other stuff to keep their minds like also like working. So it's really interesting how everyone is like developing new skills around. It's something that's actually very, very moving. Also playing, I don't know, music, new instruments, learning, for example. So that's very, very interesting. And just one last question for you. I mean, everyone is now like gathering with friends online, for example, with old friends maybe living in Australia or something like that. How do you cope with this? Like, are you also like doing reunions very often, or how do you stay social?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably, if there is one good thing about a global pandemic, it's probably that we start learning and understanding how we can reconnect with friends or stay in touch with friends via tools like Zoom, for example. That's probably the only good thing about the whole pandemic. Yeah, I mean, we started actually at work, so we have a regular date when we gather in the evening. I'm not mentioning who is meeting there, because then our bosses would find out, and that's probably not a good idea. So we do this once a week. Currently in Berlin, you're not allowed to perform sporting activities besides walking or cycling outside. So all the sport complexes are closed down. So, for example, I used to play. I play tennis. And each Monday, for example, we used to have tennis practice, which of course is no longer possible. So we meet online on Zoom, or sometimes we use another tool. The only problem here is that we don't do sports; we just drink. So the whole practicing part is not yet that developed, I would say. So we probably have to work on this in the future. Maybe somebody could come up with an app solution where you can basically combine sporting exercises and then having the drink afterwards. I don't know. That's probably, if somebody can come up with this, do it now.
Yeah, so this is a call for everyone there creating apps. This is an idea, millionaire idea. So thank you, Ruben, again for taking the time to talk with us. I will switch now to Spanish. Bueno, amigos, en las próximas semanas vamos a tener más conversaciones acerca de también la parte de justicia. Ya tuvimos de economía, de migración, pero también de internacional. Así que, bueno, espero hayan disfrutado de la plática. Thank you, Ruben, once again. I was just telling our friends that I hope that they had enjoyed this talk and that it's also helpful for them, that it gives them tips. And well, I hope that we can meet one day in Berlin, hopefully.
Well, thanks for the invite. Stay safe, stay healthy. And yeah, Whenever you come to Berlin, let me know.
Thank you, Ruben.